I bought my fire cape back when I was like, 10, 11, whatever it was. I don't know how long it was.
You did too.
Yeah, I bought my first fire cape. I think most people bought their first fire cape if you were like 10. I was terrified of Jan.
Welcome to episode 264 of the Wilderness Podcast. I am Dilz, and joining with me today, I cannot speak, holy crap. Joining with me today is Trey. Hi, Trey.
Hello.
Okay, so we got fun thing. Oh my God, Trey, this is a hectic episode. How are we gonna ever get through this Smash Pass series? It's not gonna happen. Because as soon as we get close to finishing, a new boss will get released, and anyways, it's going to go on forever. So we're continuing our Smasher Pass. Last episode, we tackled Chambers of Xeric. A lot going on there. The first raid of old school RuneScape. This episode, we are talking about the Inferno. Yeah, baby. And Trey, it is no secret that I am terrible at this game, especially considering how long I've been playing it. But I have attempted the Inferno. Haven't really gotten far. What's your experience with the Inferno?
I've gotten most of the way through the waves, but I've never gotten to, the good stuff at the end. So, I don't know. It's just, it's pretty demotivating, hour and a half in. It's just that thing where you sit down, you work full 8 hours, end of the day, you sit down and want to relax. And the last thing you want to do is spend an hour and a half knowing you're probably not going to get anywhere.
It's fun. It reminds me of a good era in my life where I would be working construction, exhausted at the end of the day, so just physically tired. But mentally, I'm pretty spry. I'm pretty good. So I would jump on and decide to just beat any positive energy out of me because I'd play League of Legends for a couple hours until the end of the night. And there was literally some nights where you walked away being like, I'm just pissed off. I had no fun. I was stressful. People call me some very rude names. I don't even know what I did. I just I don't know. My Wi-Fi cut out. Everyone hates me now. Point is, what we're missing is that good stuff, Trey, that you're talking about at the end. We haven't really been to the good stuff. So we have brought on, we're bringing on a guest. He's going to become joining us later on in the show to really pick up pick up the slack. He's the Inferno expert extraordinaire.
He knows a hell of a lot more about it than we do. So I'm very excited.
Anyone who's trying to get their cape or is just, big into that level of PVM content may be familiar. Mr. Aatykon is going to be joining us later today. He's expert on the Inferno he's an expert on the Inferno. Help us. He's really going to help us get through the Inferno segment, I think.
Yeah. My biggest takeaway from him being a fan of his content is that you can become a part of you can play this game, you can master this game, and you can become a part of the HLC without becoming a douchebag. So he's a really cool guy, and he's really, really good at the game.
So HLC, what in the heck does HLC mean?
High level community.
This game's so interesting because when it comes to play types, I've always felt you got skilling, you got PvP, which is a smaller group, but anyways, it's its own thing. And then you got PVM. You have those three things. And those graphs where it has it's like a triangle and it stretches out depending on what you're super into. But I guess just the way this community is you can have people who are super into PVM. Most people are, because it's kind of fun to kill stuff and get cool armor and gear and weapons. So people are super into that. And then within that, you have people who are really good at PVM, and they're doing TOB, and they're doing Inferno, and they're doing all the hardest piece of content. But then there's even deeper. There's the people. It's the 1% of those people who are not only good at that, they want stuff that's way harder than the hardest content. They want crazy hard stuff so that they can use their brains to friggin' figure out a solution to. It's I don't know. It's these they're playing a different game, and you watch people who are at this level, I've raided with people who are at that level, and the way they just move is insane. I'm are we even playing the same game? I used to think that sorry, I don't mean to go on this ramble, but I'll do it real quick. I used to, I don't know, I'll ask you, Trey, if you felt the same way for a while. I'm sure you did, though. But I used to think that, like, the way the RuneScape is like, we're so limited. Like, this game is so limited on what is possible. Like, it's not, because it's just like the tick system. Like, it's this weird, it feels like turn-based a little bit, because like you can attack or you can eat, but you can't, like, it's just, it kind of can feel clunky and slow and unresponsive at times, which I always felt translated to, like, the ceiling is super low for, like, how good you can be. It's not like Counter-Strike, where you see someone playing Counter-Strike and they're just like insane.
This game exists on a 0.6 second cycle, and everything you do exists on that 0.6 second cycle. And at the end of the day, there's only so much that can happen in a 0.6 second cycle. And when you are so in tune with the game and the mechanics of it, that isn't short enough of a time. You know, like a lot of, or pretty much every other game that exists doesn't have that. And so things happen instantaneously. And there's only so much you can fit inside that cycle there. Is this game, like, solved? You know, like, is this as difficult as it can be? And without making it, a lot of the conversation around these contracts and the difficulty has just been, is there a way to make this, like, fun and difficult?
I feel like I've been through the exact same thing what you're thinking. And then they can just, there's just so much more that I think can be tested and experimented. And, like, I think RuneScape is, like, a very, like, conservative game. Like, they don't often take these big chances. Like, we've got only 3 raids in this game, and this game is, like, how old? Like, that's in another game like World of Warcraft, that's just like an expansion. Like, in a year, like, yeah, there's going to be 3 new raids, of course. That's just how that game is based. So I just see what you mean, but I also think that, like, Jagex has so much more to explore, and I definitely would have felt this way. So going back to, like, when I've played, so thinking this game is so limited and so easily solved, and then I was doing a Chambers of Xeric with a really great PVMer, and the way they just did this dance in certain rooms as they were hitting stuff, I was like, I was amazed. I was like, this is incredible. And not only that, it was, like, so beautiful to watch. It was like watching a ballerina or, like, an elegant salsa dancer. I don't know. I'm trying to think of, like, a dance that you, like, look at something, you're like, wow, that is. And that's what I was seeing in RuneScape. I, like, almost, like, shed a tear. But it was really cool. But see, and then I was like, you know what? It changed my perspective of this game. It's like, it's not about how much you can do in, like, 1 second. Like, maybe with Counter-Strike, it's all about how fast you can move in general. It doesn't matter. But with RuneScape, it's almost like how much, like, you have 1 tick. Like, you have to learn how to utilize that 1 tick as best as possible. Like, you're limited on what you can do in that time frame. And it's all about, like, so it becomes, when you're seeing someone who's, like, perfectly, like, doing their thing there, it's like a dance. Anyways, it looks really cool. And it, like, you look at someone, you're just like, I don't know. You look like a beautiful ballerina. I'm kind of going in circles.
No, I mean, I think what the difference is with what we're seeing now and what you're talking about is RuneScape really excels at optimization and efficiency. And so it excels at bosses that you're meant to kill hundreds of times. And I don't think it excels at bosses that you're only ever meant to kill once, which is essentially Awakened bosses, Colosseum, Inferno, which for the most part, that's great content. But that's where I think, like, I don't know, I think what a lot of people are talking about with these Awakened bosses is, something more like Dark Souls, where, you're fighting these really, really hard bosses and you just got to kill them once. But I think what I look for in RuneScape are, it can be challenging and it can be endlessly optimized, I think, is the biggest thing that people love about a lot of this stuff. But yeah, it's the kind of thing where you're going to be killing it, 1,000 times to get the green log or whatever. So it's not just endlessly difficult. And, like a lot of people say about like TOA is like full focus for 45 minutes straight, and they don't enjoy that. But I mean, at the end of the day, that is difficult. So, like, okay, but it's not a fun difficult.
I think it's going to be really interesting to see how Raids 4, something that they've teased. I think we're going to hear about it, what is it, next year? Or maybe is it at the end of this year, we're going to get some more news about it. But I think, I've been blown away. People complain about Toa. I love Toa. It's the best. Every raid has been so different from each other. And I like that they're trying new things. I think we're gonna be surprised. There's gonna be I think we're gonna get some content with some mechanics that we've never seen before, and it's gonna be pretty interesting. It's just I don't think Jagex takes enough risks. No, I didn't say it shouldn't take enough risk. It's just that the game and the player base is just very conservative. I think it's really hard to try experimental ideas or like new things because those gonna be really hard to balance. And people get upset very easily. I think really what it is, I don't think anyone has a frigging clue of what's going on in RuneScape. The player base, the J mods, we have no idea what's fun and what's not fun because they release stuff all the time and we're like, oh my God, this is not fun. Why do anyone think this is fun? And then sometimes it's like they release something. It's like, oh wow, I don't really know why this is fun, but it's like, because this is just like a hamster wheel for people with ADHD. That's what it is. So it's like no one really knows what it is that's scratching that itch in our brain, but every now and then it does. You're like, ooh, there we go. And it's why no games can replicate what RuneScape does. They try to do it all the time. So many MMOs come out, they're like inspired by RuneScape and failed because they can't.
Well, I think it's because when they're in the design process, if they wanted to copy RuneScape, everything that's the DNA of RuneScape would get like worked out of their system early on because it would be like, oh, a 1 in 1,000 drop. Well, that's ridiculous. Let's make it like, you just have to kill the boss once. Like it is like objectively bad game design. RuneScape is it's like a lightning in a bottle in a lot of ways.
All right, Trey, I just got the word that Addie's going to be joining us shortly. So let's go. We'll start talking about the Inferno while we wait for Addie to come join us in studio. Okay, so let's go talk about the Inferno. Trey, we are back. Just you and I right now. We are waiting. Addie is on his way to the Wilderness Podcast studio, so he'll be joining us momentarily. But yeah, we are talking all things the Inferno, and I guess we mentioned it off the top. We've both done it, and it's been in the game long enough that like most people know about it, but it's so hard, and that's what most of us just know it as, is like so hard. And we, there's a lot of nuances with the Inferno that you can really only get when someone who's like a complete master of that domain joins. A lot of people it's like one and done, right? You finally get the Inferno, you go throw up because your nerves are shot, and then you never touch it again. Maybe once with the Slayer helmet. I know some people try to do it a second time just because people will think you bought your cape if you only did it once. Okay, so while we wait for Addie, and we're going to explain this once he joins us as well, but guys, what we're going to do is he's going to help us explain really what the Inferno is all about, what it means to the game, why we're bringing him on for a reason. He's going to tell us. It's such like iconic piece of content. But anyways, while we wait, let's go through. I got some notes. We'll do our smash or pass, our typical smash or pass stuff. And when he joins, we'll just pivot to that. So for my pros and cons. So we have the Inferno, and we're really talking about Tizcal Zuck. And it's like, we talked about the Fire Cape, didn't we? So this is this is V2. This is Fire Cape V2, but they did such a good, I guess, version of it because it's just like so difficult. So that's a bonus. And it's a new best in slot cape, but similar to the Fire Cape, it's like, it's the stats don't matter. You look at it and you're like, this person is good at the game, or they purchase their cape. And it's just iconic. Like they brought out content that felt like iconic from day one. It took like 2 or 3 days for people for Wooks to complete it. And then he got like, have you seen the video? He gets like the cape at RuneFest.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, he shows up. They have they made a cape and they put him on like, what is it, knighting him or something. Super cheesy, but it's good. And then my cons are the Inferno's super long. Like it can be like, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it, but it's long. It's like hours, like over an hour, and you can pause and you can like pause a bunch of times in between, but it's hard. It's not the same. It's like, taking a break in the middle of a raid. I don't know. That's not a good example, but it's not. So I wrote here, it's not very fun, but it's like a different type of fun. So like, at least when I went into it, I was like, oh, this. It took me a bit to actually enjoy it because I didn't really realize. It's just different. You're not facing a boss. It's like you're getting all these different monsters sent at you that they do different things. And you have to get them like stuck on each other and kill them one at a time. And it's they talk a lot about like the Inferno as a puzzle. So they'll be like, what's the solve? What's the solve for this? What's the solve? So I wrote it's a con that's not very fun, but I never really got to the point where I was understanding how to do solves. And I wasn't well versed enough to see the riddle and puzzle in the content. And I guess the other thing is people can be. This can be a pro or con. I'm feeling a little delirious today. I didn't get much sleep last night. But I have it as a con today. It's people can be annoying about capes. It can be kind of funny because it's a bit of a meme where if you're maxed and you don't have the Inferno cape, like it's almost like a negative. But yeah, some people can be kind of weird. I don't know. Like it's a joke that I mentioned earlier that you get the second KC so people don't think you bought the cape. But some people might think you bought your cape if they see you only have one KC. And if you did buy your cape, it could be a big deal to some. So those are like my thoughts on it, pros and cons. But overall, I like the theme of it. I like this like inferno-y, rocks and lava. I love the Tazar. They're really cool. They're like these a core part of the game, but very quiet. Like you don't hear much about them too often. They're just kind of doing their own things. I guess that's pretty much it. What anything that you want to, I don't know, take a magnifying glass to?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Inferno is such a huge milestone of the game. It's such a iconic thing within, the game itself. And it's seen as this, pinnacle of like game mastery. Like you were talking about it being a puzzle thing. And when I was learning it, that was my favorite part of it was like the idea that, okay, these things, like I have this guy on this side, two guys on this side. So if I kill him on this side first and go over to this other side and kill that one, you're kind of like, it's that satisfying. It's kind of like, I guess if you compare it to other parts of RuneScape, like you have a long-term goal, like if I was going to say solving the wave is my long-term goal. And then I have these, every boss or every NPC in there is like a sub goal, and so like, what do we RuneScape players like to do? We like efficiency. So like, it's almost like I'm going to find the most efficient way to take out all of these sub goals so I can reach my goal the most efficient way possible. And that's kind of the puzzle
goals
of it.
Goals.
I think the part of it that I don't enjoy, and probably just because I'm bad at the game, but is the parts where all of the bosses or all of the monsters are stacked behind the pillar, and then you just have to go out there and you have to flick between them perfectly. And either I don't understand the tick system or I have bad internet or something, but I always seem to be off. And then you're just starting to take 40s to the face.
I think they need to revamp this whole. Okay, no, I shouldn't say that. That's gonna give us some bad comments. But so yeah, I not to cut you off, but like I totally see what you mean. Like I do Tormented Demons a bunch. I start feeling like a bit of a HLCer myself when I'm like hyper efficient killing these TDs, and I go, you know what? I'm gonna kill two. I'm gonna kill two at once. I can flick. I know how to flick. I'm playing this game for 10 years, more than that, since 2013. And the second I introduced that second one, I'm like, I have no idea how to flick. Why am I taking so? Why am I gonna die? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I don't even know what's going on. But yeah, the time.
That as compared to something other types of I guess the high level bossing and stuff. I do like that as compared to the kind of like adrenaline fueled stuff that is learning Taub or something where it just kind of feels balls to the wall. Inferno, honestly, Inferno is kind of more chill. It feels kind of laid back, as intense as it may seem. I think once you're kind of seeing it as this puzzle that you're kind of slowly unraveling, it can be very chill, but still very difficult. It's like chess more than something like, I don't know.
It's like RuneScape Sudoku.
Sure, yeah. And
each box is a wave, and the monsters are the different numbers, and you're having to like figure out which one goes where. Yeah,
and then there's a guy behind you with a gun to your head that will shoot you if you mess up.
I think we do different riddles.
Yeah, I think that those are the best things about the Inferno, and
Do you have any desire to do the Inferno? Do you think you'll?
Yeah, I'm gonna do the Inferno.
One day you're gonna get there.
I'm going to. So what I'm gonna do is exactly the opposite of what I did last time. Last time I made this big deal about it, and I got all this pressure, and I got in my head about it. So, when we talk about what I'm, currently working on RuneScape, and I'm just like, vague about it and say I don't know, then that's what I'm doing. And then I'll just come back and say I got my cape. I just want to kind of disappear for a while and come back when I have my cape instead of broadcasting it and telling everybody and putting all this pressure on myself.
I heard the what's like the trendy guy type that girls are into. It's the nonchalant dude.
the chill dude
right now. Yeah, the nonchalant dude. Eddie's here.
Yo. Morning, fellas.
First time. Good morning.
Cool. Addy, you're in the studio. We're so excited to talk about the Inferno. I guess we haven't really met before. Let's introduce each other. But Trey, can I introduce you?
Sure.
Okay, so this is Trey Blob. He is oh my God, how do you intro someone? He maxed his main account a year ago, and then he immediately jumped onto his iron, and he's like ready to max the iron soon. Maybe not soon, but like relatively, like he's shredding. And his iron is just is quite gangster, if I must say. What else? There's more. It's I'm still drinking my first coffee. I got nothing else though. There is more, Trey. Was that a good intro?
Sure, yeah. Do you want me to intro you?
Hit me with the sure. That's never good. Yeah, how would you introduce me?
Well, this is Dilz, the host, the father of the podcast. He's basically he's like the Joker in The Dark Knight. He's an agent of chaos.
Cool.
He's whatever the crazier the better. And it's my full-time job to try to rein him in.
He's my handler.
Yep, that's about it.
That was pretty good. Okay, Trey, I think you've got a good intro of Addy. So introduce Addy to us. Does that sound good?
Oh hell yeah! Let's see.
Well, yeah. Sorry, this is at the risk of coming off as glazing. So Addy is the one of the few good ones of the HLC. Does the hardest of hard content without kind of losing his head on it, like we accuse some people sometimes of doing. He's inspired a ton of people with the first Cape Friday series, which is how I've also learned the Inferno. A great series, and the entire goal is basically like the Inferno is big and scary, and let's just break it down little piece by piece, and this is why it doesn't need to be big and scary.
Perfect. These days, I do tend to specialize more for Inferno speedruns than anything else. In the past, back when, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago when I was starting out with this stuff, I was doing more chambers, and then I've never really touched top speeds. And a lot of the niche things like Zora of Orcath, which not personally a fan of, never done them either. But over the last 3 or so years, I kind of graduated into doing pretty much exclusively Inferno speedruns. And then nowadays, that's like my main thing, I guess.
Now, should we jump into our Inferno segment? Because we have a bit of an Inferno segment planned.
Let's do it.
The massacre.
Well, we can't start off by calling it that. Okay, so we're going to go through and talk about the Inferno. And of course, we've got expert Addy here, who is here firstly to tell us how wrong we are about stuff. And then he will come in with his expertise knowledge and tell us the proper way of doing it. So we broke it down into 4 different segments. So first we'll talk about lore, and then we'll talk about why it's important, what makes it hard, and then key moments. Trey, you and I will bounce back and forth on this, and then Addy, you'll be appearing in all of them. Oh, and then of course, Addy, you've got a buzzer. Can you push the buzzer for us?
I would love to.
So you'll press that anytime we get something wrong, and then we will have to stop. We'll stop, interrupt us, and then you'll tell us what the right thing is.
I know for myself, the whole time I'm speaking, I'll be expecting the buzzer after every word. So
just second guessing.
Just second guessing.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Now, before we jump into things, I have some. I know we've already been talking about. I have a little bit of some icebreakers. I'm gonna play a clip. So, back in episode 36, that was when the Inferno was released. So we did an episode on it. I was like level 90. So level 90, trying to talk about the Inferno. And so here's a quote I'm gonna play, and I think it's kind of relevant.
Has anyone at Jagex even been able to complete it? Like when you're making an update or creating something, don't you kind of have to test it and make sure it is possible to do it?
So this was off the heels of Inferno's like one day at like 12 hours had passed and no one completed it. And I was like absolutely being like, this is insane. Why would we ever want content this hard?
Yeah, this is such an interesting topic, and it comes around every now and then. The idea that like back when Inferno was released, this is the big part, right? Back when Inferno was released, the community in general like was absolutely garbage at the game. And this stems from the idea that RuneScape is not competitive in nature. It's not, I mean, there is PvP, granted, but as far as the PVM side of things, as far as like trying to get better mechanically, there is like no incentive, right? I mean, you didn't need any real mechanics to farm GP in any meaningful sense. And Inferno is like this starting point, this stepping stone for players getting better. But it means that inherently there are no good players at the time, or very few who can actually tackle it in a way that lets them get through it. So this is almost the difference of the time when the content released. Because if Inferno was released today, it would be stomped immediately, I think. It wouldn't be close. Granted, gear difference, but players nowadays are tremendously better. And I think this stems from Inferno and from Inferno immediately. But immediately after Inferno, what happens is you get players getting interested in high-level content and speedrunning. It's almost like the birth of speedrunning for old school, where we have players doing Chambers speedruns. That's when I caught on, was like, because I was also probably level 90 when Inferno came out, just garbage as well. And then I get interested in Chambers speedruns a bit after Inferno. And then I get into Tob, and then I come back to Inferno. And there's a lot of players doing the same thing at this time. So I think it was like a stepping stone that set this whole thing in process. And back then, people suck. Nowadays, people crazy good.
Now, you definitely did showcase a lot of your knowledge for the Inferno, but I really think it's going to boil down to this next part. It's really going to highlight whether you know or don't know about the Inferno. So when I was putting this together, I was trying to think of different games we could do. I like game shows and stuff. There's this awful game that I canceled it. It was terrible, but it was called Buzzbaits or Do You Know Your Memes? So I was going to say some Inferno memes that I came across on the internet and then seeing if you knew them. It got canceled because it was like, it's a terrible idea, right? Like, why would you even think of that? But there was two of them that popped up that I was like, I need to know what this means. If you even know what it means, or it could just be nonsense. So this is the first one. I think Body did it first try in Rune Armor. What the fuck does that mean?
What?
Is that like a thing?
I'm as clueless as anyone else.
Okay, hold on, wait. There we go. I gotta buzz it. Yay.
Buzzing yourself.
Okay. My dog walked in on wave 68. Is that something people say?
Yes. I've heard this before. My cat's walked on my keyboard. Someone's at the door. Dogs needs to go out. I mean, it happens.
What wave does Zuck appear on? This is what you're getting yourself in.
The best wave.
Who is Zuck?
Wave 69. He's just this chill dude.
Wave 69. He's a chill dude.
He's just having a bath, in his lava.
Oh, right. I think we're ready to kick off the Inferno segment. I should have came up with a better title for it, but I call it the Inferno segment. Maybe the Inferno.
The massacre.
Yes. Yes, I like that. So the first part, I think what we'll do is, I think it'd be fun to do an elevator pitch for Inferno. So Trey and I will take turns doing a 30-second elevator pitch. Trey, do you want me to take it away?
Go for it.
Okay. I really should have written some notes for this, but I haven't. So here we go. Timer has started. Oh my God, 25 seconds left. So the Inferno, think of the fire cape. By the way, bought my first fire cape. Very proud to say that one. $20 right there when I was like 13 years old.
What?
Addy instantly leaves. Okay, so the fight cave, it is a chance to really showcase your PVM knowledge. The cave represents more of what you know about PVMing, less about the stats of the skill. And the Inferno is that times like 100 because it is super difficult.
Hey, your timer's running.
Okay, that was not good. Okay, Trey, you want to try?
Okay. Oh, that was your timer for it. Oh, okay. I thought that was your doorbell or something. Oh, okay.
It was
okay.
Bad.
Let me know when I've started.
Whenever you're ready.
All right. All right, go. All right. So do you have 3 hours to spare? Because I got the piece of content for you. It is like the Fight Caves. It's a wave-based mini game, but everything is on a 4-tick cycle, I think. And no, that's not true. Okay, hold on. Yeah, it's a really hard version of the Fight Caves. You have to really learn the tick cycle of the game. You have to learn the best way of how the mechanics in the game work. It will teach you a lot. And oh my God, that was harder than I thought it was going to be.
I think I know less about the Inferno now after that one.
At least I didn't have any embarrassing personal revelations about buying my fire cape.
Addy, are you judging me now after should I have not said that?
I bought my fire cape back when I was like, 10, 11, whatever it was. I don't know how long it was.
You did too.
Yeah, I bought my first fire cape. I think most people bought their first fire cape if you were like 10. I was terrified of Jad. No shame.
Oh, it's tough. I remember like borrowing full Guthans from a buddy and like he had to take it back and I was like, I'll never. And then I definitely wasn't 13, but I was old enough to buy stuff online. So I don't know, like 16 maybe.
Oh, my mum bought mine for sure. No chance I bought it.
So was it like a present? Like how do you even work that? Can you buy me this virtual? Because microtransactions were not really a thing back then.
Almost certainly a birthday present. I just loaded up some illegal gold buying site. I was like, hey, they sell fire capes too. Mum, please, I need it.
Can I tell a quick story? This is like super raunchy, but it's like super embarrassing. And it's 100% true. Okay, so when I was playing RuneScape at my grandparents' house way back then, and I stumbled across a website, a gold selling website, and that's when I realized you could trade RuneScape gold for real life money. I thought this was insane. So I told my grandparents about this thing, and they thought it was insane. Like, you could spend money for video game currency? I was like, yeah, I'll go show you. So I went up, I looked up that same website. It must have been a day later. It turned into a pornographic website. Like the most raunchiest pictures. I opened it and then my grandma was so disgusted. She called our internet service provider to get them to remove that website, even though I was like, I don't think they're going to. But I was like, it was bad.
Well,
like the same website, it was still in the browser. And then like, oh my God, it was rough.
They did you dirty, man.
I swear it wasn't like this. Since I feel a little left out on the embarrassing personal revelations, I'll say that I did earn my first fire cape, but my embarrassing thing is I died to Jad last week, which is almost worse, but I actually don't know how it happened. I took like a 94 to the face. I thought I was praying right, but I was trying to grind out a bunch of them for the TNL bingo that we were doing, and I died to Jad. I haven't done that in a while.
Yeah, that's not good. That's scary. I mean, he can hit you hard. Addy, so who do you think you're going to be buzzing the most? And you don't have to comment
judging from Trey's last statement, it might be him.
Okay.
Now he's got some experience. He's a bit more confident. He's going to throw out something that isn't quite right, but he's got a feeling that it is.
Oh man,
we'll see.
I got Jad hands from this conversation.
So we'll start off with the first segment here, and I'll try to explain the lore of the Inferno. And this should be quite interesting. Addy, you mentioned earlier that you were like a 50% lore into the lore, so I'm hoping I can skirt by with a little bit with enough confidence in my voice. You know,
I'm inclined to let you dig your grave as well before I hit the buzzer. We'll see.
Oh no! We gotta. Okay, so the Inferno. This is all going off memory, by the way, which is also setting myself up for disaster. But you got the Tazar, right? They're like the first beings on Gielinor. They're like they're the old ones, and they worship the old gods. and they have this city in Karamja called Moral Wreck, which is part of it. And then they have the Inferno. And then they have this guy named Zuck who is stuck in the Inferno because, see, he used to be a Tazar, but he was like the king. But he became the Mad King pretty quickly on. And what he started doing was, instead of letting the Tazar people dying, he made them crystallize into different forms. So if you're in the Tazar city, you'll see these statues of people. Those are real life Tazar people. And then eventually a rebellion happened when they said, okay, this Mad King Zuck is going a little bit crazy, but he had a pet named Jad. Jad was like his little dog. And they had to separate them because they were too strong together. So they put Jad in the fire cape and they put Zuck down into this thing. And they said, you're going to stay there forever and whatever, because you're the Mad King. And now you are going to be crystallized in your own form in the Inferno. And people are going to have to come and prove their strength by fighting you. But you're going to want to kill them because you're very angry.
You nailed it.
I did good?
Yeah. How did you know? Like, that's kind of crazy, no?
It's, you know what? It's like, it's so good that even if you can't find it in the game, like I'm hoping, I want to send this to Mod Ed and I hope he turns this into a quest or something. Cause I think there's a lot there.
It's going to retrofit it.
Is there anything that you want to go back and recorrect? You need a little bit more in depth?
Oh yeah. Hang on. Let me just get these back in. Okay.
It's broken.
My knowledge of being 50% accurate is probably about right for this. I don't have any clue whether the Thazar are the first race of beings on Gielinor. But I wouldn't suspect so based on what I know from lore. But I don't think so. As far as the king of the Thazar, I don't think so. Like the way I see it was the Thazar were like mutant Thazar. Or the Tizcal, whatnot, or the Tizwek, whatever it is. These guys in the Inferno are like mutants. They're like not quite okay. They're a bit mentally deranged. And so they're kept down there, basically. So Zuck ain't no king. He's just like some freaky dude, I guess.
Yeah, he's pretty freaky. I think you're probably closer to the mark.
My lore is always spacebarring everything and filling in with my own information. And I always thought the Inferno was like a we dug too deep kind of thing. You know, like, oh, we dug too deep and this guy's down there. Now we don't know what to do about it.
You know what? I think there's a lot, like there's very little lore considering, I guess, like who they are and where they are. I think like there's no quest or anything tied to them.
There's actually 0 Tazar quests, I think. 0, which is quite interesting.
I think they're the only ones who worship or at least reference or know of the old gods, which are like what do they call the elder gods? The ones that are above Guthix and Sarah and all those, you know, that group of friends. Okay, so we went over the lore. We tried. Next up, Trey, I would love for you to take, why is the Inferno important? What does it represent in the game?
Okay, this is much more.
It's a whole thing.
This is much more self-evident and tangible. So I feel like I'm much more likely to get buzzed here. I have a problem with the thesis of the game already. I feel like I'm being set up for failure here. No, I'm joking. Okay, so why is the Inferno important? I think the most important thing to me with the Inferno about why it's important is, number one, is why it's not important. And that is, it's not important for fulfilling any kind of missing hole in your life that you need accreditation from other people, which is to say, getting your Inferno cape, buying your cape because you feel like you need it for status because you're getting bullied at Tob. It's just a +2 strength bonus, which you probably have a lot of other places in your gear that you could get much better bonuses. And I think it gets in a lot of people's head that you're not a real player unless you have an Inferno cape. And I guess for context, Addy, I am a max fire caper on my main, so this is hard coping. So why the Inferno is important, though, is it's, you know, everything besides the blob in the Inferno functions on 4-tick attack cycle, which is
Jad's and Zuck not quite so much.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, that just shows how far I've gotten.
Can't forget those guys. Also, Bat's a 3-tick.
Addy, that was a great buzz.
Okay. 50% of the Inferno is on the attack cycle, but I think, you know, one of the most important things is, you know, people always talk about prayer flicking when it comes to the Inferno, and I think that people kind of get it misconstrued a lot about like, oh, I have to do like perfect one tick, no prayer loss, prayer flicking to even attempt the Inferno. And, it's more about like learning, okay, these two things are attacking me off cycle from each other. And so I need to prepare to flick between them. And usually that's in the context of like coming out from the pillar and they're stacked on the pillar and you're flicking between them, or, with the blobs, how the blobs function and switching prayers, switching between that and something else. And so that's one of the reasons why it's important. It's important for a lot of, I think, a big part of this game is just learning like a lot about how gear functions. And Inferno is one of those things where you have to really min-max the gear that you have, whether based on if you're an Ironman, what you've been able to get. And on a main, like, okay, I have this much GP, how can I best optimize that? And that's one of the most fascinating parts about the Inferno is looking at going from, the We Do Raids recommended thing and then looking at, one of Addy's videos and seeing like, okay, well, he's saying I don't need this, but I do need this, like devout boots or Pegasian boots, that kind of stuff. So it can actually be very kind of instructional and learning about gear and stuff. It was a big crash course for me. As far as what it represents, I think to a lot of people, it represents mastery of the game. It represents, I always say that the max cape is beating RuneScape, but I think for the PVM side of it, I think for a lot of people, the Inferno has represented that for a long time. I know that with the Colosseum now, maybe that's a little bit in doubt, or maybe, Inferno cape plus quiver plus fang kit. It's a little muddier now, but for the majority of the time the Inferno's been out, it's like, okay, that is the pinnacle of PVM experience, and obviously that's why people feel so much of the need to get it, because then they can tell all their friends they're a master of RuneScape. But that's just my answer to that.
I think it's pretty good. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's interesting, right? Because like the why for it is so subjective from player to player, and because it is, there's no real wrong answer either. I can't buzz you out. It's still fair game.
Yeah.
Oh, Addy, was there anything that you wanted to add on to like maybe what it represents or why it's important, maybe to an individual or like the player base or even the game as a whole? Is there anything else that you like? Oh well.
Yeah, like
popped in your head.
It fills a lot of roles. I mean, in terms of the game, like the wider game, I said before, it's kind of a stepping stone. It's this thing that once you overcome it, a few things happen. You sort of unlock this whole new area of content. I don't mean like literal, hey, I unlocked something, but it puts you in this zone where like, I did this thing, and you have the confidence to go and do more. Maybe it gives you a reason to do TOB, or maybe it gets you accepted into those teams that you wanted to go on. But I think that stepping stone aspect is really huge for it. And there's more to it as well, because like different players, you mentioned like gearing, right? Some players would not have interacted with gearing and what items they should be choosing for things. So a lot of people run around with like, a dragon two-hander, and they're like, this is the best weapon ever, and then they take it to Inferno and get shredded. And anything like that people do, they'll have this very quick realization that gear does matter. So it teaches you something there. And this is also true for prayer flicking. So if you run in there without having any experience prayer flicking, you're probably going to have a bad time, but you'll learn it across the entire thing. So again, this idea of using Inferno as this thing which teaches you different aspects of the game and then puts you on a stepping stone towards that high level content is really cool. And I think that's the best reason, like the big why you should go do it, or like what purpose it serves. It's to help players get better. And it's this springboard that pushes you into high level content. And better than that, and this is the last thing, is that because it's an endurance piece of content, because people spend weeks on it, sometimes months on it, the point from which you start Inferno compared to the point where you have got the cape and you are done with it, you're two different players. Completely different. If you commit to that process, you go from big-ass noob to mega sick-ass PVMer with a cape who can then do all this stuff.
Oh, cool.
So it's this transformation process for players.
Is there anything in real life that's like similar? Maybe school, right? Like you go to school and a lot of the knowledge you're not going to use when you're older, but you learn how to learn.
Yes.
And you learn how to problem solve.
Yeah, I think there's probably some very good kind comparisons, analogies, and different things that come up for this. Anything that's going to try and test you, anything that's like a genuine hurdle in what you're doing, whether it be like the exam you have to pass or whatnot. But I don't know how many things would classify as like endurance challenges in real life in that comparison.
Yeah.
But there must be some.
Jail? Got put in jail.
Jail. The fire prison. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to take the next part, and I am dreading this a little bit, but you guys have... No, I'm not dreading it. This is going to be great. So I'm taking part 3, which is what makes the Inferno so hard. And I've added 2 notes. I wrote long. It's long. It's a very long piece of content. And tick stuff. Because so all the monsters in there run on a 4-tick cycle. Except for Jad and the healers.
And the bats.
And the bats. Wait.
And the blob. There we go.
No, Addy, I really didn't want to have to do this, but I don't think they're technically called bats and blobs.
What?
Do you know their true names?
Oh my god. Honestly, no, I'm terrible at this. I could see it if Jalak for the blob.
Oh, it is. That's the blob's name. Oh my god, you truly are the master of the Inferno. Do you know what the bats' names are?
Jalmej Ket something? No.
Oh, you're so close. Jalmej Ra. I can't believe you knew that.
Yeah, I'm terrible with this kind of stuff.
Oh, it's the worst. Anytime I have to buy like an Obby Mall off the GE, like I want to scream.
No, that's impossible.
Because it's like
no one's ever done that.
ZK. Yeah, exactly. I am impressed. So, what makes it so hard? I would say, and you know, I had this realization, it feels more like a puzzle or a riddle than a boss encounter for the most part. What makes it so hard is it's very long. You need some decent enough gear to do it, and you need to know your tick stuff. And by that I mean pray flicking, which is when you switch your prayers a bit, and I'm sorry, I have to buzz myself. Addy, can you help me out here?
I mean, you're on the right track. As far as I'm concerned, you kind of nailed it, right? This is all true. You need to have a little bit of every base skill. Some prayer flicking, some movement, some gear switching, and some problem solving, which is actually very true. It is almost entirely a problem solving game compared to like a boss. So you kind of nailed that, actually.
Oh, cool. All right, that's all I had. Did I miss anything that's like what makes it so hard? I'm trying to... Oh, I mean, there's the shield. How about the true movement? Can we complain about the true tile? Because you got to move the shield and your guy's not actually behind the shield. He's like a little bit beside it, but the game sees him as behind it. That looks really confusing. I'm dreading when I get to Zuck because that looks like it's going to be very frustrating.
This is a nightmare thing for Inferno. The thing with the shield is if it's, let's say the shield is moving to the right and you are moving to the right with the shield, you can always be a tile in front of it visually. You cannot be touching the back end of the shield, not behind it, touching it. That will kill you. And so you would think it's safe. It just isn't. It just isn't. And it's rough. It shouldn't really be like that.
You spend like 2 hours getting to Zuck and then you learn like what you're seeing.
You learn
it's all a charade.
You learn the hard way, but worse than that, because you think you're safe, you might not know why you even died. You might think, I was behind the shield. Game sucks. And you might repeatedly stay behind the shield and still die. Seen it happen. When
I was first doing the Inferno, when the Jal Axe, the blobs, when those guys came out, so they shoot between range and mage, but visually, I thought the attacks were opposites. So when they shot mage, I thought it was a range attack, and I was flicking backwards for it, but they were missing every time, hitting zeros, and people were watching, and I remember someone was like, oh my god, I can't, like, you're prey flicking wrong. But I thought I was doing it right, and I kept dying, and I couldn't figure out what was killing me, and I was just eating hits. But I was doing it wrong, but I thought I was doing it right because of all the zeros there was no feedback of like you were not praying right. But until I got hit, and I just thought I was slow or something. I got through what makes it hard. That's what I was a little bit nervous about. So now I'm throwing it back to you, Trey. Give us the key moments of the Inferno.
Well, I think key moments of Inferno is kind of the same concept as key moments of the fight caves. It has the same format. You basically you get a new type of creature, and then you kind of you keep fighting that new creature, adding on the creatures from the previous waves until you finally finish. Like you've exhausted all the different combinations of all the creatures you've had so far, and then it adds a new one in. So I think the key moments are every time something new comes out. So I can quickly go through each of the different creatures that comes out, and it's been a minute, so finger on the buzzer.
Oh, yes.
So the first thing you're going to encounter are the nibblers, and their entire existence is to nibble at the pillars that defend you. That's your first challenge, is dealing with them. Similar in the fight caves to how the first thing is the bat, and even though it seems like most asinine little part of the fight, it can actually stack up to be the most important thing, and that's why you want to kill it first, because if you lose a pillar, you're probably not looking good for the rest of the run, at least for your first one. The next thing that will come out is the blob, which is notorious. Oh no! Wait, really?
You forgot the bat. The poor little bat.
Okay.
Well, in all fairness, Wave 1 has bat and nibblers, so they do kind of come out together.
Okay. What do the bats do?
So they've been changing bats kind of recently, but they will drain your stats and your run if they hit you off prayer.
Okay.
They changed it recently, so if you pray correctly against them, they don't do that anymore, which is very, 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 very nice.
Yeah, that seems like that would have been a pretty obvious thing to have them do from the beginning. Okay, so yeah, you have the bats come out with the nibblers, of course, in the first wave, which, so actually even more similar to the fight caves then. So yeah, you have these things that seem very minuscule, but they very quickly need to be dealt with or they will stack up. And then you have the blob, which is on a 6-tick attack cycle. It will attack what you are praying against, and after 4 ticks, it will read what you are praying, and then it will switch to that attack style. Oh wow, no buzzer. Okay. No!
I was thinking about it. Blobs are always a bit funky. I think you said they check on like the 4th tick or something. I don't know. I heard that. To clarify, blobs are check 2-3, attack 2-3, just like that.
Okay.
And that's the nice way to think about them.
Nice.
He's like a guy warming up a microphone. Check 2, 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So in the blob, that learning that, and I guess that kind of goes back to what makes it hard. But the blob is the outlier for the majority of the Inferno waves, just because it works on such a different style of attacking than everything else, and so it's kind of the wild card when you're trying to pray against stuff. It's not this like easy, prayer 1, 1, 2, 3, flick to the other guy kind of a thing. Okay, so then that's the blob. The next thing that comes out is, I think, the ranger. Oh no!
Yes.
We have a melee.
Oh, the melee comes first. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the melee is interesting. He's a very impatient little worm. He wants to melee you, but if you get away from him for long enough, he will dig. Okay, I don't think this is right. I think it's every 20 ticks. No, it's longer than that.
The melee is a funky NPC, and it has 2 modes. So when it first spawns in, there's a 30-tick window.
30.
After 30 ticks, it will dig on you. Now, this is where the fun begins. When you take a hit from the melee, on prayer or off prayer, what it does is it gives you a 15-tick window of immunity from digging. And now the melee cycle for digging is ongoing in the background. So if it tries to dig during that immunity, it won't work and it will reset. But the reset isn't 30 ticks. The reset is something like 25 to 45 or some window like that. So it's not precise. So what happens is if you spawn on a wave with 2 melees, after 30 ticks, they always dig on you together. But if you took a hit from one of them, or if they both dig together and then the next time they dig, they won't be together necessarily. So they're a bit funky. They've got this randomness aspect to them that's a bit hard to predict. The safest thing you can do is just keep taking hits, preferably in control, and you'll always keep them there forever.
Yes, that was exactly what I meant to say.
Who's getting there?
Yeah. Yeah. So the melee spawns, and that's it adds this whole dynamic to the fight of, it's like you can't just fall asleep behind the pillar. You can't. I mean, if a melee is out, you can't just sit there and let your health fully regen. Blah blah blah. It will bypass. It's the one NPC that will just bypass the pillar, which is so. That's something that has to be dealt with, and usually you have to deal with it pretty early because it will insist upon itself. You can't stack it, and it will come get you. So then the next key moment is the ranger coming out, and I think I think it's fair to say the ranger is probably the most straightforward of the NPCs in the waves that come out. He's just a guy that shoots a range ball at you. He has an incredible.
Can we talk about that range ball for a second?
Okay.
Sorry, Trey. Is that
No.
What is he doing? He throws them from his shoulders, and what is?
Nobody knows.
Like what? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
His animation kind of looks like he's doing like a headbutt of like a soccer ball.
Oh, like what is he doing?
I mean, when
Anyway,
he dies, it's got like a bowling pin sound, right? If you never heard it, like it's a legit bowling pin sound from somewhere.
That's awesome.
Is it? Oh my god, I'm gonna find it. If I find it, I'm gonna add it in. I'll find it while you're talking. Trey.
Okay. But yeah, so the ranger is, he's the most straightforward. It's more about the context of everything else going on than the ranger itself. Having to do all that. The only really interesting thing about the ranger is just an incredibly long range of attack. I'm pretty sure he can attack you. You can be hit by him even if he's not on your screen. But yeah, so the ranger's pretty straightforward. And then we get to the major is the next new NPC that's added. And the major is, well, he mages you. But his kind of unique.
He does a backflip or a front flip or something. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. His unique mechanic is that he will revive dead NPCs. Then you get into the ending part, which is something I've never really dealt with, which you have single Jad and then triple Jad. So now that I didn't know that those were his like pets, but that makes sense. So you have to fight Jad, which is exactly like the one you fight in the fight caves. And then you have to fight 3 of them, which is, I'm new enough to the Inferno that is still something that sounds incredibly scary. But most people I've heard talk about it say that it's actually pretty straightforward. And then after all of that, you have the Zuck fight, which is the most key moment of the key moments. By all accounts, once again, I've never gotten that far, but by all accounts, it's the biggest enemy to defeat at Zuck is your nerves, knowing that you've been in here for 3 hours and that you're having to, be basically not perfect, but you have to be pretty close to perfect to get through. And so as you're fighting Zuck, he'll have a shield that you have to stay behind at all times. And if that wasn't bad enough, he'll start bringing back all of his old friends from previously in the fight. So you'll have a ranger and a major spawn, and then you'll have a Jad spawn. And you're having to kill them while still avoiding Zuck. And then once he gets to a low enough health threshold, he'll summon healers that will hurt you, heal him, need to be dealt with, and that is all of the key moments.
I think that's fair. Yeah. If I can tack on a couple of small things, I think that wave 50 in particular is a big one, because that's the one wave where you get the major and the ranger spawning. So we're going from a place which you can generally only pray magic or only pray range and get away with it, to a point where you have to think about flicking, or you have to think about isolating one of them. So wave 50 is a really big wave, and it kind of like, it's the second half of the Inferno, you could say. It's the part where it like gets a bit more real.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
So do you think for players, there's like a point of like you get to wave 50, and then once you like, that's like it's like a pivotal point to get past wave 50 for most people?
Yeah, it's like a big checkpoint, right? It's all checkpoints. Some are just bigger than others. Wave 50 is the one where if you can consistently get to wave 50, it means you've like learned all the mechanics you need to deal with the later waves. And then wave 50 is where you have it's just a step up in danger. That's all it is.
Okay. So and maybe this is wave 50, but like, do you ever play Monkey Balloon Tower Defense?
Yes.
when you get deep into the balloons TD, they have like there's like 3 waves that are like the make it or break it. And the first one comes at like wave 36 or something. I can't remember. But is there like what's the first wave that you're like, this is the make it or break it? Is it wave 50?
It depends on how much experience you have. I think for the new player, it's when you get to wave. Oh, well, in the speedrunning scene, we say wave 15 because it's
15.
Yeah, interestingly, it's wave 15, and the reason for this is because that wave is a double blob melee, and that's kind of an awkward set of NPCs. And what's happening is like the blobs are not simple to pray against. The melee's hunting you. And when you kill blobs, they result in mini blobs, which are going to hit you further. So there's no like reprieve from anything. And it's at the end of a bunch of easy waves, which culminates in this awkward wave before you move on to the ranger and some nice, more easy waves. And so because you have to flick the blobs, because you got to deal with the melee and the spawns and nibblers and everything, that is like a particularly annoying wave. And especially in speedruns, because you're chugging through waves until you get to that immediate difficulty point, and then it kind of like chills out a little bit again.
Right. So it's like you're playing Monkey Balloon Tower defense and you don't have any camo balloons. And then suddenly you do. And that's where everything changes because you need to have a plan for those camo balloons. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
The blobs are the camo balloons of the Inferno. Great. That's awesome. I think we're making a lot of ground here. Okay, so that was it for our going through the Inferno segment. Is there anything that we should tack on before we move to the finale?
No.
Okay, so Addy, I think we did okay. Do you think we missed anything that you're like, well, this is something that should? I know we've been talking for like an hour now, so we might have covered it all. But is there anything that you're like, they didn't even mention this, and they do a podcast, they didn't even mention this?
Pretty good comprehensive coverage of Inferno. I don't think, like it's as hard as you want it to be. This is one of those things, like it's as hard as you want it to be. It's as difficult as you like make it for yourself almost. And it's about how much you want to go for it and dedicate to it. So it's definitely different for each person in this sense.
Okay, well, I guess just to kind of put the bow on things, would you be comfortable in trying to do a 30-second Inferno elevator pitch?
Sure.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Yeah. The Inferno. This is your stepping stone to high level content. And really, it's about learning, improving, and going from big noob to big Giga Chad PVMer. This is your time to shine. It's your place of improvement. It will suck for a lot of it, and that's fine. But really, at the end of it, you get that shiny cape. And it's not about the cape. It's about the improvements and the player you've become along the way. That was like 20 seconds.
He finished before the timer. What? Wow.
That was so good.
What a legend.
Yeah.
That was so good.
It's not even about the Inferno. It's about you.
It's about the friends we made along the way.
You truly are the Inferno expert. This was all leading up to really prove it. I'm just joking. Addy, is there anything that you want to plug or anyone you want people to come check out?
I got a couple, but one last thing on that line of thought from before was that because it's not so much about the cape and it's more about becoming good as a player, and this is a huge bit of advice for people actually going for capes, which is why I want to get it out, is if you take yourself out of it for a minute and just say, like, on any given run, it's not about me getting the cape, it's not about completing the piece of content, it's about using the experience to become better at the game. Because Inferno uses a lot of fundamentals, movement, pry flicking, gear switching, if you take your time with it and you use it as a training ground, the deaths that you experience will be much less impactful on you. They won't matter anymore because each death is a learning experience. And if you take that for face value as what it is like, hey, I died. Why did I die? Analyze it. And then try and get better at things. Maybe spend 5-10 minutes practicing pry flicking or moving. Or slow down and treat this run that you're doing right now as, it doesn't matter if I die. I'm just going to try and get the procedure for starting correct. If you do that, it becomes a lot more enjoyable. And the nerves will tend to fade away. And because you're doing that, you're getting better so much quicker. And by the time you're actually ready to start doing Jads and Zuck, hopefully the process that gets you there is an enjoyable one, as opposed to a frustrating one where you're just dying and constantly being like, this sucks, I'm stuck in his prison. Suddenly the prison is a hyperbaric, thermobaric Goku training arena that you can use to just elevate your gameplay. And that's a really cool thing. and a much better way to approach
That's
it.
cool.
I think it's a sick mindset to have, and a lot of people will hopefully, if you try it out, it'll sow the seeds and you'll flourish.
Well, I want to do the Inferno now. I'll say that. That sounds cool. I don't got the time for it though. So yeah. So Addy, anything you want to plug?
The big and obvious one is the Inferno speedrunning Discord. Been around for 6 odd years now, and it is a place for the Inferno, by the Inferno people, the guys who do it every day, all the time. And it's not just a speedrunning Discord; it's also there to help first capers and to, in general, just it's a RuneScape Discord. It's like any other. So if you're struggling on first capes, or you're interested in doing GMCAs, or just improving your PB for the sake of it, for fun, or to improve at the game, same line of thought, it's the place to be.
Cool. I think of like there's like a warehouse. We have all these people who are just constantly like figuring out new tech for Inferno, and they're like, okay, add it to the Discord. That's where my mind went. That's really cool. I love this game. This game is so cool. You have all these different communities like that can like dial into specific content. That's wicked. Anything else? You're on YouTube. People know that. We'll put it all in the show notes as well. So guys, you can check it out in the links below.
I'm actually in the process of ramping down a lot of my content creation.
Okay.
For the sad reason that I'm maybe not so sad. I've done like everything that I wanted to do in RuneScape at this point. Mm-hmm. I'm more or less at the point where I'm really content with the game. But if I was to continue playing it like all the time, like permanent, just like get up, stream 8 hours a day, all that stuff, it'd drive me crazy. And these last like 4 or 5 months where I've been ramping the amount that I do down have been much more enjoyable for me personally. And it's not as if I'm just going to like cold turkey everything and leave it. But for me, at least, at the stage where I am, where I am with the game and like how I play it, it's much more fun to just play like a little bit here and there and just try new releases for the way I want to do. Mm-hmm. So my YouTube will never go away. The stream will never go away in that sense. It'll all be there. You can watch the videos, and there's some fun ones out there. But I do think there'll be less of them.
You got a whole playoff for your First Cape Fridays. Is that what you called them?
Yes.
First Cape Fridays?
Yes,
you can watch I think they're great. I love them. They look really... They look awesome. Okay, great. Any parting words? Do you want to hear what some of the segments?
No. Abort.
So I had a game show idea called "Explain the Inferno Memes." I had an Inferno poem contest. We're gonna read poems to you. There was a 18 plus, like it was like raunchy Inferno memes. And then I decided, so I used in like ChatGPT for this, so they're as awful as you would think. 18 plus skibbity brain rot Inferno memes.
Kill me now.
Let's see if I can find one.
No. I think this is a fantastic segment to end with our guest of here's all our bad ideas.
Ones that didn't make the cut.
Yeah.
Addy, thank you so much for coming on. I hope you had fun. Did you have fun?
Yeah, I always do.
Okay.
I love this puzzle.
Well, I'm glad. You need to correct that one. Yeah, that was great. So thanks so much for coming on and helping us like try to get through this a little bit. If it was just us, I think people would have walked away being more confused about the Inferno. And then we do the opposite of what you're doing. Like we help people not get the Inferno by just telling so much misinformation by accident. But then you came in and saved the day. So we really, really do appreciate that. Okay, Trey, Addy, what a great guy. Thank you so much to Addy for joining us today to talk all things the Inferno. He's so smart, Trey. Just the way he talks about the Inferno, I was like, this guy's probably so, you could just tell.
Yeah, I had said when, before, well, actually a while back in this series, I was like, hey, I was looking ahead and I messaged you and said like, hey, there's some stuff on here that we don't know how to do. So we might want to get someone else to help us out here. And, I was recommending people in the clan and stuff. And you were thinking bigger and you were like, well, who's somebody, like who's like the dream pick? And I was like, well, like I love the First Cape Friday series. Like Aatykon's like really cool guy. And I really like series, and it's kind of like, it's like, okay, but we're just this little podcast, whatever. And you messaged him and he replied right back. And I was like, that's really cool. So I'm I'm so happy that was able to work out.
Totally. Such a great dude. I think it goes without saying, even though we did say it a lot, but if you're wanting to do your Inferno, go check him out. He's got so much content. He's most viewed video, I'm pretty sure, is like a really great, just like one-shot video of the Inferno guide.
It's the first episode of his first Cape Friday. He did a bunch of them, but yeah, it's just very calm. I mean, obviously he's doing these, intense game mechanics while just very calmly explaining what he's doing and how you can do it yourself. And I highly recommend that. You're going to have to, the hard thing about the past year of this game is you're going to have to kind of update your gear and inventory for what's modern. Cause I know for one, the prayer restoration potions is a game changer. But the mechanics of everything and the theory of it is still very solid.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Things have only just improved. So sometimes I get overwhelmed by new gear or new content. I go, you know what? Nothing's changed with what I'm doing. Everything I'm doing is still just as good as it was. They're just better stuff. And sometimes I get a little bit stubborn. I stick to what I know. I think that's like a beautiful part of this game too. It still works.
Not even better stuff. That is a huge part of it. But I can tell you two things that have been changed about the mechanics of the game itself that are huge for Inferno since I was doing it. Is they removed the auto cast delay. So when I was doing it, you had to cast from your inventory, but now you can just hit it with you can have your staff equipped. And they've also changed the way that if you get brewed down and then you restore, it'll keep your auto cast, as opposed to, I can't tell you how many people have died from brewing down, restoring, clicking on the monster and running out because they're trying to melee them. So that's huge for Inferno too. So even the gear, just general quality of life to the game. I mean, some people say the best, the most efficient tactic for maxing or anything is just to not play the game and wait for them to make it easier.
If you're someone that's like only joy is going to come from maxing and you hate every millisecond of playing this game, this is like the best advice. Come back to it in 10 years. You know what? We had so much fun chatting with Addy. We didn't even talk about whether we would smash or pass. I think it's fair to say he would smash it. Now it comes down to us. Mr. Zuck, Tiz Cal Zuck. You gonna smash? That's confusing. I guess we're talking about this as Inferno as a whole and not so much just the individual Zuck itself. Fun fact though, I have the RuneScape board game. It has all these miniatures, and my kid loves playing with the Zuck figure. It's got a giant sword too. It's the RuneScape 3 one, but still.
Oh hell yeah! I think that overall, I think I'm gonna pass on the Inferno. I don't want to take anything away from the quality of the content. I never see myself looking forward to 2-hour engagement like that. I have trouble being excited for. I don't even like doing the fight caves in general. I don't remember if I smashed or passed on that, but it's just. I don't like that feeling. I even complained about the gauntlet, and that's like 12 minutes. Just being stuck in one place for such a long period of time. So I don't have any hate for the Inferno, but I will pass.
Okay, but you did smash the fire key, but it's like we've said in some previous episodes that smash or pass could change day to day.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's not a good metric to decide whether the content's good or not. I think I would smash. I want to say I want to pass, but I think it's just like it offers so many positive things where it's like the length of it is what I have like no desire to do the Inferno. Maybe one day, but I don't know. So I have no desire to do it, but I do like. I don't know. There's something about it that I like, and I think it's iconic enough. I don't even think I can really voice why that's a positive. Do you want to try to get through one last boss?
Yeah, we can tack on deranged
archaeologist. This one sucks, so this will take us no time to get through. I think it's kind of funny we end on this one because is this even a boss? So September 2017, September 7th, 2017, we got the next boss. And it is like a demi-boss. It's not really, I wouldn't put it in the same category as bosses. And this is the Deranged Archaeologist, not to be confused by the one we talked about earlier, which is the Crazy Archaeologist. So you have the Crazy Archaeologist in the wilderness, and now you have the Deranged Archaeologist, which is found on Fossil Island. This came out with Fossil Island. And, well, here are my first notes. It's better than the Wildy one. I don't know why. I wrote these notes a while ago. But I wrote it's better than a Wildy one for some reason. But then I wrote, like, what the hell even is this? And there's no uniques. Like, this boss it's in this weird corner of Fossil Island. It doesn't do it. It's not like a cool fight. The loot is like, I don't even know. Like, it's nothing. There's nothing really crazy that it drops. It used to, but it doesn't now. It's got some, like, you have to kill it, 25 times? And it used to be 50. You used to have to kill it 50 times, I'm pretty sure. And you have to do that for a combat achievement, so everyone has to kill it. But it's just, what the heck? There's not even, at least the other one has a fedora. This one has no fedora. You need a rake, I'm pretty sure, to get to it. And everyone is going to have to make the thing. Oh, it's an axe. Okay, so everyone has to make this friggin' trip twice, because who's going to remember to bring the axe? Yeah, this is such a weird boss. And I think the reason they added it was Jagex was trying to be like kind of sneaky and try to help out the Iron Man a little bit. So when this boss first came out, it dropped a glory amulet. And glory amulets is like it's kind of like a big milestone for an Iron Man, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know, like, why, at least to me, the glory feels like kind of like a big moment for your account. Like, I don't know, did you feel the same way? Because I'm going to ask you if you can try to explain.
No, the glory is it's a milestone in the sense of, it's an upgrade in every sense of for combat, and it's also some of the best teleports in early game that you can get.
It's true, yeah. And I think, like, part of it is it's like your first. It's an older item, of course. It's been in the game forever, but, like, since Iron Man came out, it's always been this, like, path that splits off in a few different directions. How are you going to get your glory? Are you going to go get your crafting up so you can make it? Are you going to get your hunter up so you can get it from the dragon implings? Or maybe you're going to try to get one of them from the clue scrolls. I remember someone in our clan had gone that route and they got the trimmed glory at one point. So that was pretty cool. But it was kind of cool. You kind of had a few different ways of trying to get it. So
yeah, I like the idea. I like the idea of it not being like, I like what you're saying about, like, it being them taking away this, like, super obvious the one way to get your glory, and because people do have to be kind of creative about getting a glory on an iron.
Yeah, and I guess it was, like, maybe just too easy. So it originally did have that glory on this drop table, and then they took it off. Oh yeah, it says right here, the glory is one of the most coveted early game Iron Man items. So upon release, it did drop the Uncharged Amulet of Glory at an uncommon rate, but because beforehand you either needed 83 hunter or 80 crafting to get it, this just made this way too easy to get. So yeah, and it also, you can't save spot it. So it did this thing where if you try to save spot it, it would, like, one hit KO you, or it would do something, like it would just attack you. And I remember there's a few hardcores that got killed from them early on. I think, like, a friend or Woogs, like those.
How embarrassing!
It's no good. It's no good. Okay, thoughts of the Deranged Crazy Archaeologist.
If you told me that this was like a meme boss that was added because of some, like, Fossil Island locked account, I would believe you. Its existence in the game makes almost no sense. Something that I see is interesting. I'm looking on the wiki as well. The Deranged Archaeologist can be killed in lieu of the Crazy Archaeologist for boss slayer tasks. So that's interesting. So it's almost maybe it was added for hardcore instead of killing, the the crazy archaeologist guy. I have to like look at the wiki page just to see the name, which one is which. I mean, these are just the most nothing forgettable bosses.
You know what? I bet you someone was like a huge Indiana Jones fan, and it's like, okay, your job is to add an NPC / boss, and they're like, and then they're like, I swear to God, if it's another archaeologist, it's the deranged archaeologist, and you're like, fuck, man, okay, listen, we got to ship out Fossil Island in 2 hours. Just put it out. It's fine. We'll fix it later when people complain about it.
It's probably safe to say that if you ever kill this boss 26 times, you'll be number one on the high scores because everybody kills it 25 times for the combat achievement and never looks or thinks about it again. But yeah, it is. I think potentially, I think I'm safe in saying this is the most nothing boss in the entire game.
It's a bold claim.
I know, it's a bold claim.
I think you're right. Yeah, there's no uniques. At least the other one that it's got the fedora, which is like a meme item it drops, but at least it has that. It also has like the shield pieces. I'm surprised this doesn't have like a meme. It'd
be nice if it dropped the rune crossbow, because that's the only reason people go to the crazy archaeologist. I wouldn't mind if it dropped the rune crossbow. Maybe it could drop the crossbow limbs, so it's a little not as good. And
it does.
Well, it shows what I know. All right, where's the buzzer? Okay, yeah. So I mean, so okay. There we go.
Okay, sorry.
It does drop the rune limbs. So, okay, fair enough. I mean, so that would be, I guess that is an alternative way. If you don't want to go in the wilderness, you don't want to kill steel dragons, you're still going to have to get a fletching level, but there's your runite limbs. So that legitimately gives a huge boost to this because getting a rune crossbow is a huge part of an Iron Man. But we're really stretching to say anything positive about this boss. I mean, it is truly one of the most nothing bosses in the game.
Even getting to it sucks because you have to go through these like tar pit monsters because there's just like wood cutting activity. We have to do like a similar version of this later on where we talk about skilling activities. So they have like the Sula steps. And so you have to go through there. And I think you need a rake at some point because I have memory of like having to get a rake to traverse that area. So kind of annoying. Let's look at, they have a strategy guide. Do they have a rake in the inventory?
Yeah, that whole corner of Fossil Island is kind of odd.
It tells you to bring an axe and a
rake. I know Soliceps are considered one of the best woodcutting things, and I've just never really gotten into that. So that whole area, that like tar swamp, I've just never really engaged with.
No, when they bring out the tar raid, you might have to. Sulicep raid. Okay, so Smash or pass? What are you thinking?
Capital P pass.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna pass too. Okay, so that was fun. So let's cut it there. we got through two of them today. Better than last episodes at least. But anyways, next week we're gonna tackle starting with the Grotesque Guardians and going through Vorkath and Bryophyta. So these are some pretty cool and unique bosses to talk about. People dog on the Grotesque Guardians.
Yeah, and I intend to.
Oh no, they're so cool. Oh, I watch the cinematic every time.
Well, you have to.
No, I don't.
Oh, the opening one. I get what you're saying. All right. We'll cover it on our episode.
This is where the mailbag, the wilderness mailbag. Why are we calling this segment that? Where we talk about, I don't know, play messages, read emails, talk about things people are saying in the community. I know some of you are leaving messages on Spotify. We're going to let those build up for a minute. But someone in our Discord, Twisted Soul, did say the message. And he says, I've been really enjoying the Smash or Pass episodes. And I noticed they're being recorded well before the release. Are you withholding the goods? How many of them have you guys already completed? So...
We're on our second run through already.
Yeah. The reason I wanted to shout this comment out as well, just because if you're leaving a Spotify message and you don't hear it on the next episode, sometimes, okay, so we record it and then I edit them together but we try to record like every Sunday. It doesn't always happen. And then I try to edit them as fast as possible. Sometimes I get it out within the week. Sometimes it takes me a little bit longer. And we're on that little bit longer route. If you're a long time listener, Nothing new. But so anyways, yes, we are recording these as fast as possible. We're getting them out as fast as possible as well. But mostly just shouting this out in case you send us an email and then you listen to an episode and you're like, why the heck did they not read it out? We're getting to it. It's coming. I promise. It is coming. Okay. I guess this is where we do our little housekeeping. So if you want to send us a message, if you want to give us your thoughts or tell us something or tell us a story, whatever it is, love hearing from you guys. You can send us an email at TheWildernessPodcast@gmail.com, or you can, all these are in the description, but you can send us a message on Discord, and I'll do my best to send us a message on Discord or leave a comment on our server somewhere. And the server is discord.gg/thewilderness. No, wait. Discord.gg/wilderness. Almost shut out the old URL. Don't do that. It's a not Fortnite server. It's a Rust server.
It's a Fortnite server.
Oh God. Oh my God, dude. They're friggin' weird over there. I'm in it, and I look at the Rust servers from time to time, and they are. I talked to them once because I wanted our old URL back, and the conversation was normal. It's just everything else about it is a little bit off. Anyway, not throwing shade. Our clan is Clan Wild. Come and join and hang out. Always a bunch of fun stuff going on there. And leave us a voicemail at SpeakPipe using the SpeakPipe link down below. That's cool too. Trey, anything else before I'm all talked out. Anything else before we get out of here?
No, that's all.
Song of the week. Do you want to make it? Oh, maybe it should. Oh, it has to be the Inferno, doesn't it?
Yeah, the Inferno song is iconic. It's something that a lot of content creators put in their videos for all kinds of stuff. It's really intense. I
think Jagex does too. Like in their trailers for like new events, they have the Inferno music because it's so like metal.
It's a good one.
Have you heard the RuneScape 3 Inferno music? It's like some Dragon Force stuff. It's got like guitar solos and stuff. It's kind of cool. Okay, so the Inferno. It's called Inferno. It has a song analysis. I so love when we get to read a song analysis. This music track requires the player to show a fire cape to Tazar Het, guarding the entrance to Moral Wreck, as there are no further requirements to accept either. Tazar Het Rack's first two challenges. A fire cape does not need to be sacrificed in order to unlock this track. What a confusing sentence. So the analysis, the song is the key of D minor with mini Dorian model inflections. The tempo is 96 beats per minute, and although in 4/4 time, most of the track uses this non-standard metrical subdivision 3+3+3+2+2. Extensive use of the interrupted cadential harmony 5-6. Roman numerals, so can be heard throughout, although the transition to the B section at 38 seconds, where there is a surprising shift to major. Here an arpeggiated harp figuration I'm reading this and I'm like, someone's fucking with me right now. Like this isn't even none of this is real, Dilz, right?
I know music theory. I understand everything you're saying.
Okay, so I'm going to keep going. Which embodies the aspirational nature of the Inferno before giving way to an unwieldy melody in parallel minor thirds, making use of tonally distant chords. In terms of scoring, the track makes use of brass instruments such as the French horn, GM instrument 60. Is this like the MIDI file? Anyways, and brass ensemble GM instrument 61. Performing heavy sounding crescendos at various times. Adam Bond typically utilizes. Adam so wrote this. Adam Bond typically utilizes brassy crescendos in his battle-like compositions and including reworks, mostly in the main game RuneScape, hence why this in old school RuneScape is a rare occurrence. One of the earliest examples of this would be in the track of Fee Fi Fo Fum, a song from the 4th of June in 2007. Besides the brass in this composition, it also consists of strings accompanied by an acoustic grand piano, which can be heard slightly in the background. The song also makes use of a square wave, which is rarely used in old school RuneScape. This square wave instrument is most likely an imitation of the effects used in Bond's previous Lava Falls composition. Trivia! The track bears resemblance to the song At Doom's Gate from the video game Doom. Sick. I just started playing that game. This track is in the same key as Moral Wreck, another of Adam Bond's compositions, which plays just outside the Inferno. It is also very similar to another Adam Bond composition from the main game, Lava Falls. Despite Inferno being similar to Lava Falls, the song has been transposed to another key and rearranged and recomposed. And this track is later remixed in the RuneScape game as The Glory of Combat. Trey, what the heck does any of this mean?
I don't know. You were like so excited that there was a song analysis and then you shit all over it. So
It's just like, I like music. Are we even talking about music though? When we're like, what is going on?
No, I was talking about the key it was in and how that represents the mood of the song. No, I think it's
and like French horns. Like that's not a thing. Come on. I want to know who wrote that, and we should do an episode on music with them. We'll find out.
Hey,
maybe it's gonna be
possible.
Adam Bond. Let's do it. Let's get Adam Bond on the show and force him to admit that he wrote this.
Okay, just make sure it's not. I know the original RuneScape composer, I think, went to jail for some pretty bad things. So let's not get.
Yeah, let's not get mixed up. We should just do a bit. We got to do some research beforehand.
Yeah.
Adam Bond has a lot of songs, so before we do this, I just want to check to see. I'm gonna click the song called Bloodbath and see if it has a song analysis. It doesn't. It doesn't have a song analysis. It's very brief. Guys, thanks for listening.
Bye.